And who's been up to Ferrum College lately? Look at the expansion on the higher education level. We need to encourage higher level education as well and attainment of that. So that's what they've gifted us, and that's what we have. Where do I want to go? Where do we need to go? And where should we go? We've had this curve in the road. We're coming around. Now, what direction are we going? I say to you this morning, we need to go in several directions. First, we need to grow and expand existing business. Second, we need to look at some new things like federal contracting. There are billions of dollars that come out of Washington each week. With this infrastructure, we can bring new business in here and do it remotely. We need to start with some more technological companies as a base. Now, one of my favorites is small business. The young couples in this community that want to start a business, make it thrive, stay in this community, raise their children in this community and be a part of it, they deserve a chance, and I'll do the best I can to help them. Then we need to target some specifics. And yes, we still need to worry about manufacturing. We've had success in it even after this large failure. McArledge here is a very good case, Swedwood over in Pennsylvania, and there are others. So there's one old saying, even if you're on the right track, you better move forward or you're going to get run over. It's time for us to move forward. To conclude that, we must diversify, we must continue to the next level in education, and I'll be a strong supporter of that diversification and education attainment. Another issue I've run into so far around the environment around our district has been our environment. We have both a legal and a moral responsibility to protect, enhance, and pass that environment on to our future generations and our children. The point sources in industry and farms are being addressed vigorously. That problem not totally solved, but we're along the way. But the problem still remains. On this parking lot and our schools and houses and everywhere we go, we certainly need to work some further on that problem. I worked a lot of environmental issues in the last 8 years, from septic systems and water supply systems and biosolids and sludge and water quality, environment, erosion and sediment, invasive species and trees and whatever. And I've concluded that yes, we can do that, but an overhanded government pushing too hard won't work. It has to be competitive. We have to use things like educate our citizens. We have to cost share with our citizens that can't fund that burden. We have to use new things like low impact development, conservation easements, PDRs, and transfer of development rights, those kind of tools. We have to do it in a common sense way, and we have to do it in a way that'll work. I support these approaches. I've learned a lot about them in the last 8 years, and I would support them as your delegate this coming January. Enough on environment. The third issue is growth. We hear it here in Franklin County. I was coming across it in Florida and pockets of Pennsylvania. We need good quality growth for our economics, or just to support our company, but we also need to assure that we maintain our rural environment and the heritage and the farms and the forest. Land use should be a local prerogative in Virginia. It historically has been so. And I'm anxious to work with all 3 county governments and how we can enhance the safety and the preservation of our counties as far as infrastructure and those things are concerned. I've only heard a little bit about transportation and utility re-regulation because these gentlemen and others made a historical accomplishment in the legislature this year. I'm proud of them for that. It probably is not perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. I'm sure we'll run into it again in the next year or two. The only thought I'll add to that is I'm a strong supporter of rail for both passenger and freight. We can't make the same mistake in this region as we made in Northern Virginia and Tidewater. I've lived in both places for a while. You build everything up and then you can't build rail without tearing down your schools and your houses and your churches and everything else. It can't be done. The final issue that I run across that I want to mention is that of illegal immigration. Yes, it's here. It's right here in the 9th District. It's true that some of our businesses, our construction business, our agricultural sector, and others need the labor involved. It's also true that there's an enormous cost to it. Cost in terms of school runs, cost in terms of teachers, extra teachers, Sheriff's Department, Commonwealth's Attorney, court interpreters, Department of Health, Social Services Bureau, our charities, the load on them, the load on us from a medical view with our hospitals and doctors. It increases not just our actual fees, but our insurance rate and the detainees. It's all a big problem. I talked to the Attorney General McDonald probably about a month ago about this. And he said, Charles, we just don't really know what the benefits are and what the costs are by the numbers. And he said, we need to do that. So I went home and I wrote it down as a possible bill for next year when serving in the House. But fortunately, the House beat me to it, and they did pass a bill that would do a study on that. We need that information to really know how to address the problem. But let me say this about it, and this is where I stand. Our laws must be obeyed and they must be enforced. Number one. English must be the common language in the 9th District, the Commonwealth of the United States of America. In-state tuition at our colleges and universities should not be granted to illegal aliens. And there should be an agreement between local governments and state governments with the national government so that when illegal aliens are detained, they are or apprehended, they are detained, placed in jail, and turned over to the federal government for appropriate legal processing. If I'm your delegate next year, when I'm your delegate next year, that's exactly the kind of program I will support. I know I've gotten a little winded, I have a tendency to do that. But as I close down with you this morning, I've watched many campaigns. It's very foolish in my mind for a candidate to stand before you and make a lot of wild promises. I've seen candidates make promises on bills that don't have a number, they don't have a title, they have no written language. In other words, no one knows what they're even about. No one knows what the unintended consequences are. It's not in me to do that. I'm a different sort of person. But I will pledge to you this morning, I will pledge to you that if I'm elected, I will serve all of the 9th District. I will apply all my skills, my experience, my qualifications to the job. I'll spend the time at it. I will base my decision on the conservative values, the core principles that I talked to you about, and common sense and judgment. Now, if you believe as I do in standing up for conservative values, standing up for rural values, standing up for Virginia values, ladies and gentlemen, I ask for your support, and let's go to Richmond in January. Thank you. God bless America.
Just a few brief announcements. The carriage of the White Horses along the K&B Entertainment, a small business, and they asked me to mention that for them, so why not? Beautiful setup. Secondly, if you have some time, it'd be nice to visit the merchants that are around here. Third, there's some cookies, some drinks, and we'd like you to stay and have this. It's not going to be easy, folks. The opposition wants to see we've got the best candidate, but it doesn't make it easy. You've got to go out there and work. You've got to give money. Like it or not, money is part of the political system, so our candidate can represent himself. And I believe those checks are paid to the order of Friends of Charles Poindexter, of which I'm one, of which you're one. So let's go out. The game is on. Let's take it to him. Charles Poindexter, the next delegate. Esther is now going to sing No. I'll sing it with you. Oh, you don't want that to happen. Self-defense.
We'd love to have you sing it with us.